Assalamu alaikum all. Today I'm going to be talking about a video done by Lingo Steve, which is a channel that I like, and I have a link to the video that I'm talking about in the description below. And it's about using Duolingo to learn a new language. Now this is a really good video because I love Duolingo, and I'll tell you my thoughts on it as we watch the video. Welcome. On this channel I share my journey in learning languages as a Muslim.
So it is just an overwhelmingly pleasant experience, and it does contribute to, if not teaching you a lot, at least enabling you to do things with the language that confirm what you know and what you don't know.
So here Lingo Steve is talking about some of the positives where it allows you to kind of interact with the language really easy, and that's what I really love about Duolingo, is not having to think about it. You just pull your phone out your pocket and just start using it. You don't need to do any prep or anything like that. And yeah, it will just kind of learn what level you're at and give you questions that are suitable to you. So if you're making a lot of mistakes, it will kind of then make things easier. If you're finding things really easy, then we'll gradually make it harder as well.
We're going to learn. So if I look at the case of Turkish, for example, once I decided that we were going to go to Turkey, of course, I went and grabbed my Assimil Le Turc, which I've done before. So I go after this. I have other books on Turkish. This is only some of the books I have on Turkish. So the point I'm trying to make is there's lots there. There's lots of things associated with that language, and I want to be able to explore what I want to explore at my pace, going forward, going backward, reviewing stuff that I did before.
You know, this is a good point that Lingo Steve talks about. Like, he's able to do things at his own pace. Like with Duolingo, it kind of tells you what you should be learning and stuff like that. It kind of has different sort of sections. And but what I would say to that is that for a lot of people, especially me when I was first starting out in languages, it was very hard just to get into the language, being motivated, finding it, oh my God, so much work, I could get all these books and all these different resources. I liked having just one resource, one thing that I could just do every day consistently, and it's just giving me that little bit of contact with the language, which Lingo Steve is kind of talking about later on. And that's really good just to get going and just to work and stuff like that. So yeah, that works really well.
The problem in Duolingo is that I can't control what comes at me. They control. So I can't deliberately review words from a particular lesson.
So yeah, Duolingo does control what you review, but it does have different sections. So you go through a section. So one section might be about food. One section might be about asking questions. Section might be about introducing yourself and conversing with people. So yeah, it does control what you review. And I think what Lingo Steve was saying, he likes to control that himself. He likes to go through different sections and different things like that, and which I think is great. Like, he's a really experienced language learner, and I'm thinking for a lot of people out there, especially like myself, it was just kind of, I don't want to think about what I want to review. I just want it to tell me what to do, and I just want to kind of do it. I then pick stuff up. So I had a colleague at work, and he was going to Japan, and he just kind of just used Duolingo every day, and he managed to pick up bits of Japanese, and that kind of really helped him. And I think that was one of the big inspirations for me to then kind of go back to Duolingo, and why I love it so much. So even though it doesn't allow you to control what to review, it does kind of use its kind of algorithms and computing power to decide, to see how you're doing. So if you're struggling with something, it'll make sure to pop that back up more frequently. If you're finding something like really hard, then it'll make it easier for you. So it has all of this kind of stuff, and it knows what sections you're on. But yeah, you can't just jump around a lot of different stuff, and which is good, but also by having it kind of being a bit more constrained is also good. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do any prep. You let Duolingo handle all of that.
Well, if I look at the Hindi, so here again, like, I buy books, okay, if I'm going to learn a language. I haven't even started on Hindi. And even though I'm a bit skeptical of Teach Yourself, it is a source. I love doing the beginner material in a language using different materials, different sources, different books, different systems, because it's covering sort of the same ground from a different angle.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. Having different resources, learning things from different angles is fantastic. And I definitely agree with that, especially like if you want to learn letters and things like that. You know, I'm learning French at the moment, and sometimes I'm watching TV shows, so I'm getting like different sort of inputs, and that is really important. But what I think about Duolingo is it's really good. Again, like I said, just the ease of use, just to get it out. I don't have to worry about what books I have and get books out and stuff like that. Especially if you're trying hard, I think definitely the initial stages, like initially you have that motivation, then you have like a bit of a dip where the language can get quite hard. So you need something as easy as possible to pick up and just keep going. Like, even if you just do one lesson a day in Duolingo, it adds up absolutely massively.
For people who are maybe less motivated or who like to maintain contact with the language they're learning, then I think Duolingo is fine.
Yep, so he spoke about the Lingo Steve, exactly what I've been talking about, for people that are maybe kind of don't have as much like sort of energy at the moment to pick up the language, or they just want something just that they can keep ticking along and get that contact going. But what I would say is very surprising that by doing Duolingo you can learn quite a lot, and it would then kind of, by getting that your juices going and kind of getting your hooks into the language a bit, it then makes it easier to go into the next stage.
Thing you're doing. So you've still got to go and do all these other things and use Duolingo as an entertaining way of testing yourself, getting some feedback, getting a sense of achievement, and maintaining a contact with the language.
I totally agree with Lingo Steve, and it's not the only thing that I would use, but definitely it's the key thing for learning any language for me now, is just to use Duolingo as much as possible, because it's so easy just to get into that language, get over that, you get that initial motivation, then you have that dip. So to get through that dip, and then once you get quite a few words, bits of vocabulary, and you understand a bit of grammar, like when you start trying to learn more, you don't get like really kind of like burdened and just feel blocked when you kind of see bits of text. You can kind of make bits out. So when I'm watching that show Lupin, I'm understanding a bit more about it, and I don't get as sort of anxious and worried when, oh gosh, there's a whole bunch of words that I don't understand. You can sometimes just make things out. So Duolingo is fantastic just to keep you going, especially for anyone that wants to learn a language and has struggled before. Just by doing one lesson a day, it's amazing how much progress you can make. And language learning, especially on my channel, I just want to say it's definitely possible. Anyone that wants to learn a language, it's not about saying, oh, I'm not motivated to the language. Sometimes it's just learning how to build that motivation, how to build those right habits. So if there's any language you want to learn, it's definitely possible. No matter how hard it may seem, there's definitely ways to do it. It might take a bit of time, but the most important thing is finding those tools that can enable you to learn that language daily and build up a good habit. Try and make it as enjoyable as possible. Just want to say thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please check out my other video where I talk about how language learning is messy.